When you decide to move off grid and do away with public utilities, your life really starts to revolve around the weather. In my last video, I showed that we were downpoured on for like 3 straight days, and then it stopped for about a day and a half. But then the last few days, it's been raining again the entire time. Even when it wasn't raining, it was totally clouded over. So it's been about 8 days since the sun was last shining. I didn't realize how big of an impact that was having on me really until this morning. Because when I woke up, I could see that the sun was shining through. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Got me excited. I jumped up and went outside, and I hadn't realized that, yeah, it had been a while since I actually seen the sun shining. And my life revolves around the sun because all of my electricity comes from solar power, and the sun heats up my bath water. So over the course of that 8 days without the sun shining, I was really pushing the limits of my power bank. I had over the past week been very conservative with my usage of energy. You know, I nothing extra charging. Haven't been watching any movies on the DVD player or nothing, because I always want to make sure there's enough energy there to keep my phone charged, because the phone is my lifeline in case of an emergency. Now I have multiple ways of charging the phone. You know, got one of those little banks that you charge up, and then you can charge your phone off of it for, 3 or 4 charges or something. And I could always plug it into the vehicles, and I do whenever I'm out running into town for something. If the vehicle's running, I've got the phone charging on it. Might as well take advantage of that power. So, I mean, I could always too fire up the gas generator, but I think that's a little overkill for just charging a device. I usually reserve that just for when I got to run power tools, which are much higher draw. But anyways, with the sun coming up was great, because I was able to then get my solar panels positioned and ready first thing in the morning. And because of all that rain, everything was wet. I try to keep everything covered and out of the rain, but it doesn't matter. When you get that much rain, everything gets wet and damp anyways. So I'm pulling everything out to set in the sun to dry off, and the high of the day got up to about 78. It was real warm. So by about 10 a.m., it was warm enough I could go shirtless, and it just felt so refreshing feeling the sun beating on my bare skin after that time. So I didn't know that over that time, okay, I'd kind of been cooped up in the cabin a little bit, which wasn't a big deal because I love reading. So I read a bunch and found little things to twiddle with, rearrange some things in the cabin. There's always something you can find to do. But I didn't realize that it kind of brought my morale down just a little bit. And then when I got out in the sun and just felt it hitting me, like it just, my spirits just rised up as a result. So it felt so good. And I had hurt my knee because all that rain, I had stepped on a slippery surface, took a spill, and fell on my knee and my hand. So that hand I fell on, this wrist and elbow aren't doing so good, and the knee what took the worst of it. And it's the knee I hurt about 9 months ago real bad too. So in the cabin for a day like that was really stiff. So I used the opportunity with being nice out to just go, and I was just walking laps up and down my driveway, just a little something to get it stretched and moving. Now it feels much better after that. And, got my heart racing a little bit, moving, because it's uphill in that. So just felt so good. And it made me realize that here it was, okay, I was kind of cooped up in the cabin for a week, but even still, I'm still surrounded by nature. I still got fresh air coming in through the windows and the screen door and everything. So I'm still out in nature, but even still, it was having an impact on me being out of the sun. But I think of people who have spent their entire lives indoors. They barely spend any time outside. And I got to think, well, if that impacted me that much in just a week, what about people who spent 40 years indoors and never get outside? Like what impact is that having on them? Uh, it doesn't surprise me that people are really so crazy these days when they don't get outdoors enough. I don't like telling people how they should live their lives, but I would highly recommend making time in your life to get outside. Even if you live in a city, you can still find somewhere to go sit outside and take in the sun's rays and the fresh air and just being amongst the world. Take your kids and your dog for a walk whenever you get the chance. All those things, in addition to being just good for your health, it's good for your mental health and your emotional state and everything as well. So I, I couldn't believe something so simple as the sun coming out just made me feel so good. And I compare that to, we just had the election this week. It was funny because for the past 6 months or so, I've been trying to avoid the news as much as possible. But I was tuning in for a lot of this stuff, more than anything out of kind of a morbid fascination, like just to see what kind of nonsense they're going to throw out there on the world. But it surprised even me that leading up to, during, and after the election, at no point did I ever feel any emotion whatsoever over it. Even though the media is doing everything that they can to heighten your emotions on both sides of the aisle. So here it is, something as simple as it raining and then the sun coming out had a much bigger impact on my life this week than a presidential election did. And that's when you live in reality amongst the world. That's what it's like. The drama of people out there and the media that likes to push that drama. It really gets pushed off to the side, because I know that regardless of the results of some puppet show election, it isn't going to change the challenges that I have to face each day. It isn't going to change all the problems that need solving for me today. All those things are still there I got to deal with. Regardless of what goes down with that, I still have things to take care of. All of the things that got me into prepping and moving off grid, all of those issues, they're all still there. They haven't gone away, so really nothing has changed for me during it. And that is, like I said, what it means to live within reality. It's real simple, man. You change your mindset and you can change your world. Those things get pushed on the back burner and become just more of a curiosity to entertain you with more than anything. It's sad to see so many people taking it so crazily serious. I'm old enough now that I've been through enough presidential cycles that I've seen it's the same every single time. When the Republicans are in office, they gloat and brag about how great it is, while the Democrats act like it's the end times. And then when it's the opposite way, when the Democrats are in office, they gloat and brag about how great it is, and the Republicans act like it's the end times. It'll be the same thing for the next 4, 8, 12 years, however long they retain the White House. And I'm seeing it now in the media things that are popping up. I'm not watching them, but I can see it popping up where, of course, all the Democrats are crying and whining like little babies over it. And then the Republicans are sitting there showing that and joking about it, making fun of them and this and that and whatever. And honestly, it's truly pathetic to see from both sides acting so childish. Like, come on, grow up. Uh, but it's the same way it's always been for every election I've seen in my life, and it always will be into the future. So rather than get drawn into this drama, for the next 4 years, isn't there something better you can be doing with your life? I mean, 4 years is a long time. There's a lot that you can do. Think of how much time you can spend with your family and your pets. You can lose all that belly fat you've been meaning to get to. You can get pretty good at a musical instrument. You can learn to speak a foreign language. Don't you think all those things you could save up to enough money during that time to buy a nice piece of property that you've always wanted to live on? Don't you think all of those are better pursuits than just getting caught up in the drama that inevitably the media is just going to be pushing on people for the next 4 years? Okay, it's there. I understand. You're not going to totally tune it all out, but at least put it on the back burner and focus on the things in your life that really matter. You know, like I said, you change your mindset and you change the world. The sun coming out today allowed me to recharge. It didn't totally recharge all my power because I had totally depleted it out. My battery bank was done. Yesterday it shut off, and I was like, well, that's it. Uh, no more charging anything till the sun comes back out. But I'll get it charged over the next couple days too. It looks like some more sun, so I'm back in the clear. But now that I'm recharged, I'm going to eat dinner here. It's about to get dark. After dinner, I'm going to sit down and treat myself, pop in a DVD, and watch me a movie. Life is good, and life feels good when you just accept that when you can live within nature and amongst the cycles of the seasons and the daily cycles that happen, when you can become at peace with those kinds of things, life becomes just so simple.